Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we're going to be carrying on with the serial story, Evolution, and we need to speak to the unlikely florist. London is asleep when she calls a meeting. Vacant streets, silent houses, even the cats have stopped prowling. You rendezvous outside Orchard House. "I made this for you," says the unlikely florist. Noxious fluid sloshes in a bottle, capped with a nozzle and a little atomizer. "Quite a nuisance to find the ingredients, but you'll need to spray the mixture on the shell of regret. Don't get any on your skin. There's no antidote." Oh dear. Let's proceed to the Orchard House. Somewhere in a locked wing, the shell of regret has been quarantined. Tonight's meeting for the Dillman Club is on the smaller side, with only yourself and the unlikely florist in attendance, but it may still occupy you momentarily. Only one gas lamp flickers outside Orchard House tonight. In its jaundiced glow, you can see blood ivy strangling the walls. Tendrils push between bricks, dislodging grout. "We wanted to revivify the shell," says the unlikely florist. "Test it to determine which regrets survive, but our treatment was too potent. If you want it back, you'll have to subdue it first. I'll unlock the doors." She doesn't say that she'll lock them again, but you hear the key click behind you. Explore Orchard House to locate the shell of regret. Some rooms may prove tricky to navigate, but never fear, there are always dependable pathways to advance. The ivy on the wallpaper isn't just a pattern. Vines creep between floorboards, twining around cables and chairs. Where a cabinet once stood in the library, displaying poisonous plants from the Elder Continent, there are glass shards on the ground, and blooms growing towards the ceiling with a riotous vitality. You walk across mossy carpets, still clutching the spray bottle filled with the unlikely florist's concoction. Everything rustles and drips in the dark. Something scuttles. Though we can either push through fanged flowers, every thorn on their stems is a curved tooth. A 60% chance with our luck, or we can step around the blossoming armchair. The cushions have ruptured, petals unfold from the stuffing. Let's pick the armchair because it seems less dangerous. Entire seating arrangements have been consumed by vegetation. Ottomans transformed into bushes. Tables lifted off the floor by monstrous toadstools growing underneath. Even the wood-panelled walls are sprouting, with green buds emerging from long-dead lumber. Okay, now we have a few other options here. We can crouch under a fruit-laden burrow. Branches stretch through the room, heavy with succulent pods. Oh, we can also spray the scuttling shell with your bottle. There, in the corner. Dear Lord, it certainly has grown, hasn't it? Do I have something that will increase my caleptic toxicology? I believe I do. Hang on. Yes, with a few choice items, I can get that up to 100%. We can avoid a prickly entanglement. If a cactus could pucker its lips, it might sound like this plant. Let's just spray it and see what happens. The shell of regret was always rather bulky, but this thing crouching in the corner, it's at least as large as a full-grown man. The shell's curve gleams in the gaslight from the windows, still glossy with swirling colours. But now it's mounted atop some creature, a creature on its hands and knees apparently. But you can't see clearly in the dark. It's eating fruit, rancid and splattered on the floor. You creep closer. You lift the bottle. One spritz, and it screams. Not just a single scream, many, all at once, in a chorus. It scuttles away with remarkable speed, plunging into the greenery. Okay, so now we have to see if we can get around the prickly entanglement or the fruit-laden burrow. Let's go for the prickly entanglement. You don't listen to the plant. It doesn't seem to like that. It starts to splutter and squirts yellow liquid that burns a hole through the rug. You step around the liquid, which continues to burn through the floor, under the rug. The plant keens like a jilted lover, but you ignore it and turn the corner. Okay, we can take the vine-choked stairs. Flowering tendrils coil around the banisters, or we can search behind rustling shrubs. Something is moving underneath the leaves. Let's go for the rustling shrubs. I am being remarkably lucky here. Books and newspapers are strewn on the floor. One vine, extending from the shrubbery, is turning pages in the latest Journal of the Royal Horticultural Society. That his amused lordship's recent article on Saviour's sap? Does the plant actually find it edifying? Enough to keep turning the pages? Let's crouch under the fruit-laden burrow. Each fruit is faintly luminous. You can almost see through their translucent flesh. When something squirms inside one of the pods, the whole burrow jingles. The other pods sway and bump into each other, sloshing like balloons filled with water. Oh, we can try and spray it again. Only 70% chance this time. This time, it sees you coming. You won't catch it by surprise again. Let's try. Oh dear. It's definitely upset. Hissing like a pit of snakes, half buried in the flowers, still on its hands and knees. Only the shell of regret is visible above the blossoms. The flowers start to shake. They shake more violently. Petals shower the ground, stems agitated, thrashing as the beast bristles with rage. With a triple shriek, it lunges. But you spray it first. It topples back, still shrieking with a wet smack. Those aren't hands or knees. They convulse like tentacles? Vines? But before you can tell, it scuttles into the hallway. Okay, we're back to the fanged flowers and the blossoming armchair. Let's go with the fanged flowers this time. Ouch. I knew it was too good to be true. Thorns catch your clothes. Fangs sink into your skin. Welts rise around the puncture wounds, which start to itch fiendishly. You struggle to disentangle yourself, but the flowers keep bending in your direction. They're young buds, still teething. Oh, we have a few new options here. We can untangle a few vines. Perhaps you can clear a pathway, if you're cautious enough. Or we can transverse a floral corridor. Colours and perfumes assault your senses. Or climb over a leafy blockade of these plants obscured a door. You might still be able to reach it. I want to try and untangle a few vines, but I don't know. There's no checks here, so let's see what happens. Ow. Some vines you can rip away with ease. Others are too strong to tear. Still others, it would be foolish to touch. The blood ivy makes its predictable toll, greedily sucking redness from your wounds to enrich its own colour. Most vines are growing from the library. Their roots are anchored below the broken cabinet, planted somewhere deep within the building. But they spread tenaciously. Oh, we're back with the fruit-laden burrow or the prickly entanglement. Let's go with the prickly entanglement again. You are fortunate. Burns a hole in the floor, but not me. Let's... Oh, we can spray the scuttling shell. Let's try that. Is your quarry bleeding? A trail of iridescent fluid leads down the corridor. Puddles shimmer like quicksilver, if quicksilver were gold, in a trail that leads under the stairs. Tangled vines, so many bones pushed back into a nest. Liquid drips from above. The shell of regret is perched overhead on the stairs, drooling. Those wriggling limbs, even if they're 5 feet long, even if they twist like tentacles, they're really tongues. They all shriek when you spray them again. Saliva flies, spotting the ground with gold. Flowers explode into bloom. Blood ivy surges higher. The shell escapes into the growing shrubbery. I found a headless skeleton. Okay, well I don't think we took the vine-choked stairs before, so let's go up there. You don't touch the banisters. They crack as the tendrils squeeze tighter, until the wood itself lends no support to the staircase. Huge splinters remain suspended in the tangle, but if someone were to pull those fragments out, the vines would still retain the railing's shape. Hanged flowers and blossoming armchair again. Let's try our luck with the armchair. Oh, we were unlucky. Great insects which have draped themselves on the chair to drink nectar flutter into the air. With only the gas lamp outside providing any light, they're difficult to see, but you feel wings brushing your face. Long tongues probe your ears for more supper. Oh God, no thank you. Oh, we can spray the scuttling shell again. Its many tongues spit and hiss, golden saliva pooling on the floor. You only have a 50% chance, so cross your fingers. Damn it. Your bottle's almost empty. It won't spray. The shell of regret scuttles closer, like an enormous land-born nautilus, crawling upon its tongues. You shake the bottle. Try again. Nothing but air from the atomizer. The tongues unfurl, dripping gold drool, exposing a maw filled with teeth that wriggle. But each tooth is another tongue, barbed like a cat's with papillae. And those papillae are tongues too. You're close enough to stare straight down its throat, lined with more tongues. And the bottle finally emits a spritz, right into its esophagus. It doesn't react happily to that. Tongues thrash wildly. The shell of regret rocks backwards, flattening flowers under its bulk. You watch the tongues start to shrivel. Shrieks dwindle into whimpers. Soon the tongues are limp, black strips, like withered seaweed washed onto a shore. They can barely twitch. They stop twitching. Their whimpers, too, have stopped. We can retrieve the shell of regret. Perhaps the Dillman Club gave it new vitality, but it's certainly dead now. A slaughtered shell. It doesn't scuttle away anymore, but you still have to pry it from the blood ivy. Vines coil around the shell. You rip them off. They try to coil around it again. Branches bend into your path, attempting to block your exit. Pollen blurs your vision, but you push through the vegetation, carrying the shell of regret on your own back. All the tongues, brittle and black, tumble into dust. Venus flytraps snap up the flakes. Now you know where to walk through the plants. Left here, take the stairs, watch out for that devil's trumpet behind the bookcase. Next right. With the shell of regret on your back, you have a hunch forward slightly. But step by shuffling step, you re-emerge from the quarantined wing. The unlikely florist is waiting to unlock the door. Dr. Livingstone, I presume? She asks with an irrepressible smirk. How bizarre. She traces the whorls with her fingers. We expected fresh spirals to grow, but the old ones have metamorphosized into fractals instead. Maybe because this specimen was harvested from a living subject. Not that it even matters anymore. More blood ivy is creeping down the stoop. The unlikely florist pulls on some gardening gloves. "I'll take it from here," he tells you. On the pavement, her tools are arranged. Trowels, spades, toxins in many bottles. She lifts a blowtorch. Heat washes over your face, and the blood ivy screams. "Do whatever you want with the shell. We all know you would anyway." Let's bring the slaughtered shell to the Youthful Naturalist aboard the ship. My ship is at Wolfstag Docks. Uh-oh, we've been cornered by the implacable detective. He emerges from a warehouse by the docks. Quite a grisly scene inside. 4 bodies by my count, but the boys are still collecting evidence. She watches as 2 constables also emerge. One is holding a bag filled with broken masks. The other runs to the water to empty his stomach. The Mythendrake office denies any involvement, but the case can wait a moment. We have club business to discuss. Before you sail anywhere else, you might want to hear this. As your sponsor, I feel it is my duty to keep you abreast. I maintain dossiers for everyone in the Dillman Club. Normally, I wouldn't share intelligence. This is different. She leans closer, carefully supporting herself with a walking stick. The bishop has been courting allies, some less savoury than others. Devils, revolutionaries. You'd never suspect the cafes he visits. His card-playing days introduced him to death, as you're well aware. But I have it on good authority that he's also negotiating with Death's twin. They've been in contact for some time. Constables are shouting. Apparently, they found 3 other bodies. "I'm needed," says the detective, glancing back to the warehouse. "Perhaps I'll regret telling you. The bishop wouldn't have. But I fear a greater regret. Keeping it to myself." The Bishop of St. Fiacres has fingers in many pies. Let's take a moment to go back to the ship. Comparing notes with the Youthful Naturalist. I am guessing it's in here. He continues to keep himself aboard your ship. There we go. Discuss the shell of regret. You managed to reobtain it from Orchard House. Slightly altered. The Youthful Naturalist is still analysing the stolen blueprints from the Royal Navy. You have to clear your throat to get his attention. He stares, gobsmacked, at the shell of regret. "What in the blazes happened to that thing?" You tell him. And the Dillman Club says I take risks. Together, you study the patterns. The naturalist scribbles more notes. "I've never seen fractals like these. Same regrets as before. Disappointment in love, misplaced trust. But they've been rearranged. Now the spirals themselves are spiraling. This single regret contains someone's whole life. Lonely. Wasted. Unlived." "Not exactly what I expected," says the Youthful Naturalist, reviewing his diagrams and comparing them to the shell's warped spirals. "But these regrets should still serve well enough. They're an organic map, like a Z-chart. We'll need them to calibrate the diving bell. After we build it, that is. But don't worry, I know where to get everything." Oh boy, I'm not happy when he says that. "Consider what else you'll need. While you were gone, I took the liberty of compiling a little list. It's an esoteric little list. Half of these items must be illegal. With the Royal Navy's blueprints as a base, the Youthful Naturalist has made some rather unconventional adjustments. To withstand more pressure and more tragedy," he says. "Regrets can weigh on the hull just like a heart. We'll need reinforcement." It's also an expensive little list. Oh, but we're not going to pay for anything. At least, not as much as we normally would. I have well-positioned friends. They'll provide the tools and raw materials. I might have to call in some favours I've been saving, but it's now or never, isn't it? Okay, we need to gather equipment from Port Cecil, the Fleet of Truth, a Carganian patrol vessel, and the Court of the Wakeful Eye. Oh boy. The only one that I feel might be quite troublesome is the Fleet of Truth. But I think we can set sail to Port Cecil and maybe encounter a Carganian patrol vessel if we go to the Karna, obviously. I don't think we need to engage in piracy for this to work, so let's start off by going to Port Cecil, I think. That seems like the easier option, doesn't it? Let's chart a course to Port Cecil. Okay, so we made it to Port Cecil. Let's see if there's something here. Here we go. Reuniting with the burly surveyor. He tended to the youthful naturalist at his lowest point. Apparently I also have a hidden stash here. Hang on. Put shovel to sand. Hey! Let me get some stash treasure there. Wonderful. Right, anyway, let's reunite with the burly surveyor. He tended to the youthful naturalist at his lowest point. When the stone tentacle key was embedded in his spine, when he could barely walk or talk. The surveyor sat by his side in a shack near the shore, keeping vigil, waiting for you to deliver the essence of life. What happened between them in that dark nighttime of the soul? Enough, apparently, to make the surveyor break into a teary-eyed smile at the naturalist's return. The youthful naturalist is eager to rekindle their acquaintance. When the day's mining is done and the whistles have blown, the surveyor comes to the poisoned pawn. He sits with the naturalist as he once did in that foul shack. But now they drink and laugh and talk. Illness is the furthest thing from their thoughts. So much has happened in such a short time. Yet so little has changed, and the clocks have devoured whole lives, moments filled with forking paths. If this, then that, are expired. Futures, shuttered like shops. Dreams destined to remain dreams, if they were ever voiced at all. I have a favour to ask, says the naturalist. As usual, says the surveyor, knocking back another pint. The youthful naturalist unrolls his modified blueprints. You work covertly in the poison pawn, meticulously refining the dining bell's navigational systems. Day follows night, and night, day. The imposter moon changes its face. The clarifying plant blackens the false stars. Belching smoke, miners come and go, but the burly surveyor lingers at the bar. Just one more drink, he'll be along. The others can leave without him. Let's apply the burly surveyor's expertise. These calculations are fiendish, but you have a professional. Good lord, this man's mind. At the university he could chair a department, too, and he's wasting his genius here, labouring in the mines to extract pennies from Iron and Misery's payroll? Just to rent a leaky roof? To afford barely stale biscuits and beer? With a spanner in his hand, fingers slick with black grease, he bends mathematics and metal. 10 assistants couldn't equal his output. He stands back and wipes his forehead. That should do it. Now I have a favour to ask. Anything, says the naturalist. He has one arm wrapped around the surveyor's shoulders, marvelling at the intricate contraption on the bar. Whatever happens, please just stay alive. We got a whirling contraption. Okay, I think that's the first stop. What was the next stop? I think I'll do one more before I end the episode, and then we'll work out what we're doing. Can I ask him where to go here? Discuss the diving bell, maybe? Ah, yes, there we go. It is down here. Review the little list. Okay, you still need the Fleet of Truth. You'll need to be pursuing a voyage of scientific discovery. Oh wait, do I not just randomly find them? Do I actually have to do a voyage of scientific discovery? Okay, well, we can do the Court of the Wakeful Eye. And the Carganian patrol vessel shouldn't be too hard? Maybe? We get to the Carnet from the Principles of Coral? I think we can. And we'll see if we come across a Carganian patrol vessel. Assuming I don't die. Oh wait, look, there's the Fleet of Truth right there. Does this count? Oh, here we go. Wonderful. So you can find it as a random encounter as well. Hatch plans with the shifty scholars. I guess it's because I already have done this in the past, and maybe it's just in the cards that I can pull. Does the Youthful Naturalist know these rogues? He's waving. That took 2 favours in high places. Is it a mistake to welcome these shifty scholars aboard? To feed them tinned eels and tea? The Youthful Naturalist serves them himself. From your provisions, naturally. They're fellow students, it would seem, who still share fond memories from Benthic College before they joined Dr. Orthos, before the Naturalist joined the Dillman Club. And how did the Bishop's patronage pan out? Asks one shifty scholar. About that, says the Naturalist. After they've returned to their own ship, the Naturalist draws you aside. I've put in a little request. Next time we rendezvous, they should have something for us. Oh, do I have to find them twice? Bugger. Found them again, never mind. What are the odds of that happening? Okay, let's rendezvous with the 2 shifty scholars. This time, they wave to you. They have something for the Youthful Naturalist. The packages are bound with chains and barbed wire. One parcel squirms until the shifty scholars address it with a yardstick. Dr. Orthos doesn't have a clue, they assure the Youthful Naturalist. Does he ever? The Naturalist asks. They lean over the water to chat, even dangling their legs. They act as though they were passing a lazy afternoon. 3 students lounging by a pond after a boring seminar, and not sailors perched above waters churning with beasts. Some can smell the parcels. Remember when we... they ask, and the Naturalist does. Memories from the lecture hall, the mandrake after curfew, the cricket field. He always thought these 2 would settle down, but look around. Look at the fleet. The Finns following. This isn't a lazy afternoon. All those are gone. Oh dear. I mean, we got 10 unearthly fossils. I'm a little bit worried about my troubled waters, and now something is stalking my ship. Oh, I went the wrong way. Hang on. Full stop. I went, instead of going from the Principles of Coral to the Carnet clockwise, I clicked going from the Principles of Coral to the Carnet anti-clockwise, which is why we're now in bloody home waters again. Hang on, I'm going to go dock at London to reset everything. There we go, we got back to London. We lost our pursuer and my ship has been fixed. We're not going to talk about that bit. Okay, let's go to the Carnet this time. This time we're going to go the right way, which is through the snares, which is arguably dangerous, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, we're in the salt steppes. Let's see if we can bump into a Carnet vessel. Cross your fingers. None of these. Aha! A Carganian patrol vessel. Here we are. War Tremerians prowl these waters, on the lookout for pirates, smugglers, spies, and other suspicious characters. Maybe we should lower the pirate's flag. Encode signals to a subtle machinist. I need a player of chess. Hang on. No joke, I almost equipped Sugar Plum then. Because it came up as an item that had player of chess. It was -1 player of chess, but we came close. Okay. 60% chance. What happens if we fail? If she's on that ship, she'll help, says the Youthful Naturalist. Yeah, we failed. She must not be aboard, says the Naturalist. But I know she sails these waters. Whoever is aboard might not reply to your signal, but their vessel picks up speed. They stalk you in the silent darkness. Lanterns dimmed, but you can barely see. Are they gone now? Are you sure? Damn it. Let's dock at the water, and I'm gonna just keep going out and back, I guess. We'll see. Let's see if we can make it happen again. Ah, we came across one straight away. Let's try again. Cross your fingers, everyone. Ahaha. Lights in the darkness. Each light a message. Who's here? Says the naturalist. Of course I'm here. I have informants, she explains once she's comfortable in your cabin. Carganian sailors are loading crates onto your ship. The subtle machinist sips jasmine tea, overseeing the delivery. The Royal Navy robbed? Shameful. Such precious plans. Poof. Gone like that. Into whose hands? Pointless without the parts in any case. You always know just what I need, says the naturalist. He's kneeling, resting his head on her lap. She indulges him, stroking his cheek. Introductions, what else? Tickets to Appy's meet? Now this. I won't forget, he says. Nor will the timing, she says. Wow, we got a lot of random stuff here. 300 Carganian light bulbs, what am I going to do with those? Oh yes, I just keep my Carganian light bulbs. Right, now I think I'm going to abandon my current course. I think the only place we have left to go now is the Elder Continent and the Wakeful Eye. Court of the Wakeful Eye. Let's see if we can make it there. What is the quickest route? Through the stairs. Of course. Okay, we made it to the Court of the Wakeful Eye. I need tribute. Ah, okay. Well, that's mildly annoying. I guess I should have seen this coming. God damn it, I gotta go back to London. Okay, hang on. And here we are. After a bit of an embarrassing travel back to London, we're at the Court of the Wakeful Eye. We need to petition the banded prince with the Youthful Naturalist. Leave this to me, he whispers. I'm good with royals. Only been bitten twice. Oh dear. The smouldering herald announces you, and the naturalist instantly throws himself onto the floor. He grovels before the banded prince. Oh, fearsome highness, your meat-eating majesty, red-toothed, no, shining-toothed terror to stone-slithering foes. May their forked tongues tangle. Your humble servant returns, nothing more than a worm, to beg your fourth and final promised boon. Reclined on his dais, the prince rests his chin on crossed paws. Oh, he purrs, bemused. What would that be? His ministers twitch languid tails. What I gave you before, now I need it again. If that isn't too rude. The banded prince smiles, revealing each tooth, and they do indeed shine. Granted. But first, his gaze falls upon you. The court harbors a curiosity. It has been some time since we inquired about death. Has your philosophy changed? You've travelled with this humble worm. Death follows him, as you may have noted. So we ask again, what is death to you? We have a few options. It is horror. Death is the greatest evil that awaits us. It is to be overcome. Fie to the Reaper. Fie to the end. It is bliss. It shall be rapturous when you shuffle off your mortal coil. It is mercy. Life is an ordeal. Death shall not be. It is but another aspect of life. The two are inseparable. It is an inevitability that one should lead to the other. It is a void you needn't worry about. Whence you came, thither you go, and that's all there is to it. It is an unknown. You have no idea, really. Or it is a companion. Wherever you wander, mortality is always close. I think I'm going to go with it is another aspect of life. Interesting, says the prince. How frightfully interesting. This answer satisfies us. Rise, he commands the naturalist. The Minister of Culture extends claws like crescent moons. He plucks a silk sheet from a velvet pillow. Something shimmers, couched in soft crimson. Beautiful, isn't it? The youthful naturalist takes the gift, trembling. I don't remember it like this. No, you wouldn't, would you? Asks the Minister of War gruffly. Safe passage isn't free, explains the Minister of State Affairs. But we knew you'd want it back. Nobody can truly part with theirs. The Minister of Enigmas says nothing. So we've acquired the youthful naturalist's greatest shame. And you've gathered nearly everything you need. Speak to the naturalist for the final steps. All set to Z. And I think this is where I'm going to end this episode here. We shall speak to the naturalist in the next episode. We shall see what the final steps are of the construction of the diving bell. So I'm going to thank you all very much for being here. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. Thank you again to the members. It really does help keep the channel going, and it is greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.